everybody. It is the Black White Liberal. How are you doing this evening? I hope that everybody's having a great day. Today is Monday, December 14th, and I was at home just chilling, minding my own business. I'm hoping I don't have an issue with the sound. Yeah, but I was just minding my own business, and I looked online and I saw that What, what made me look to see what Joe Biden said? I don't know if I saw a tweet, but something just had said. I think I was saw some news clips, and I said I don't want to watch a clip. I want to see if he did a speech. I want to see what he actually said because it's official now. The electors have come together, and they've all officially made Joe Biden the 46th president of the United States. And so he gave a speech today. And so I just wanted to recap that speech. It was really good. And this is, like I said, I just maybe heard about it. I really didn't know anything about it. And I went and watched it. And I just thought, wow, this was really just energizing. And I liked a lot of the things that he said. And so I just figured, you know what, let me just go live and we'll watch it again and stop and kind of talk at some places. It's probably about 20 minutes long. And I just wanted y'all to see it because I'm like, if you're going to go look it up somewhere, you might as well look it up here, right? Um, I just realized I had the wrong. So let me pull it up. Just give me a quick second and I'm going to pull that up and we'll fix that. Okay. Sorry. Oh man. I could have made that a little bit neater, but whatever. We're going to go ahead and keep moving. So we're going to click on over to our file here, and we're going to go ahead and start watching the speech. Like I said, it was really, I just felt energized, and there are some parts in here that really got me going, and really just as I'm thinking about how he's going to move forward, I don't know, it gave me some confidence on some things that we can talk about. So we'll get started.
Good evening and welcome to this PBS NewsHour special. Electors from all 50 states and Washington, D.C. met to officially elect Biden. And here he is speaking from Wilmington, Delaware.
In an act just as old as our nation itself. And once again, in America, the rule of law.
Oh, let me go ahead and tell you, he is clearing his throat a lot here, and it's kind of annoying, but I'm sure that's what other people are going to talk about who, have reaction videos, and I'm going to talk about it too, because it's kind of annoying, so prepare yourself.
Our Constitution and the will of the people prevailed. Our democracy pushed, tested, threatened, proved to be resilient, true, and strong. The Electoral College votes, which occurred today, reflect the fact that even in the face of a public health crisis unlike anything we've experienced in our lifetimes, the people voted. They voted in record numbers. More Americans voted this year than have ever voted in the history of the United States of America. Over 155 million Americans were determined to have their voices heard and their votes counted. In the start of this pandemic, this crisis, many were wondering how many Americans would actually vote at all. But those fears proved to be unfounded. We saw something very few predicted, even thought possible. The biggest voter turnout in the history of the United States of America. A number so big that this election now ranks as the clearest demonstration of the true will of the American people. One of the most amazing demonstrations of civic duty we've ever seen in our country.
One of the funny things about this speech is there's going to be a lot of times when he has a chance to brag on how big this election is and just the records that it set. And it's just kind of funny because we know how Trump feels about that kind of thing and how he wants to be number one in everything. So,
It should be celebrated, not attacked. More than 81 million of those votes were cast for me and Vice President-elect Harris. That, too, is a record. More than any ticket has received in the history of America. It represents a winning margin of more than 7 million votes over the number of votes cast for my opponent. Together, Vice President-elect Harris and I earned 306 electoral votes, well exceeding the 270 electoral votes needed to secure victory. 306 electoral votes is the same number of electoral votes that Donald Trump and Vice President Pence received when they won in 2016. Excuse
this is where it really gets good.
me. At the time, President Trump called the Electoral College tally a landslide. By his own standards, these numbers represented a clear victory then, and I respectfully suggest they do so now. If anyone didn't know before, they know now. What beats deep in the hearts of the American people is this: democracy, the right to be heard.
I just love the fact that he said, you know, it was a clear victory then. And that's sometimes I feel like what the administration tries to do is move the yardstick. And if it's like, if it was clear then, it's clear now. So again, it's just kind of a way to, I feel like it's like a little jab, you know? And I'm here for it. And it's a lot of, I feel like it's a lot of that in here. So I really enjoyed the speech.
To have your vote counted, to choose leaders of this nation, to govern ourselves. In America, politicians don't take power, people grant power to them. The flame of democracy was lit in this.
And is that not what Donald Trump was trying to do? He was trying to take that from, I feel like, you know, once the numbers came out and he saw what it was, he was trying to take that from us. It's one thing if you just had more votes, but they didn't have more votes, and he's going to make it clear here again how they didn't. And it's just so wrong that they are being allowed to subvert democracy, but Joe Biden talks about that in this speech, so we'll listen some more.
To govern ourselves. In America, politicians don't take power, people grant power to them. The flame of democracy was lit in this nation a long time ago. And we now know nothing, not even a pandemic or an abuse of power, can extinguish that flame.
Him saying that, an abuse of power, I don't know if they're going to legally go after Trump for, you know, just the the blatant lying that he's been doing about winning the election. And I'm not sure if you can do that as a president. I'm not sure if they're going to go after him, but I felt like it was very interesting that Joe Biden called what he did an abuse of power. Now, I don't know if they're going to say, well, you know, it's unethical, but it's not illegal, but he certainly called it what it was. I didn't feel like um because we don't know how they're going to move going forward, but I didn't feel like they kind of danced around that. He was just like, it's an abuse of power, period.
And as the people kept it aflame, so too did courageous state and local officials and election workers. American democracy. The flame of democracy was lit in this nation a long time ago. And we now know nothing, not even a pandemic or an abuse of power, can extinguish that flame. And as the people kept it aflame, so too did courageous state and local officials and election workers. American democracy works because America makes it work at a local level. One of the extraordinary things we saw this year was that everyday Americans, our friends and our neighbors, often volunteers, Democrats, Republicans, independents, demonstrating absolute courage, They showed a deep and unwavering faith in and a commitment to the law. They did their duty in the face of a pandemic.
Okay. I was gonna make a little silly joke, but anyway, yeah, I appreciated what he said, and it's definitely a year where everybody really had to come together in a lot of ways. I don't know. I mean, there was I don't know. There was a lot of division, but if you are at a hospital and your nurse doesn't believe in Black Lives Matter, but you come in and you need help, y'all ain't having that discussion. It's us, it's people relying on one another. And so, from those essential workers, those frontline workers, to, like he said, the volunteers and the people who came out to work at polls and things like that, people who wanted to be poll watchers, people who sincerely wanted this movement to uh, work. um, Work. Okay, I had to check something out. Yeah, so those people, you know, deserve kudos, and it was all kind of people. It wasn't just Democrats. It was, Republicans, Independents, Libertarians, all kind of people. And I feel like Joe Biden is really speaking to that in this part, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna go back a little bit and we'll listen.
Our friends and our neighbors, often volunteers, Democrats, Republicans, independents, demonstrating absolute courage. They showed a deep and unwavering faith in and a commitment to the law. They did their duty in the face of a pandemic. And then they could not and would not give credence to what they knew was not true. They knew this election was overseen by them, it was honest, it was free, and it was fair. They saw it with their own eyes, and they wouldn't be bullied into saying anything different.
Oh my gosh, I was so, I don't know. I just really appreciated Joe Biden for saying this. And even though you don't agree with a lot of these people, I do give them kudos in that they did stand up for democracy in a lot of cases. And he had something to say for those people who didn't, but for those who did, and um, I, I, I don't know. I just appreciated this speech, including this part of the speech.
It was truly remarkable because so many of these patriotic Americans are subject to so much enormous political pressure, verbal abuse,
Enormous pressure. The president calling you on your cell phone as you're signing off, Governor Ducey.
and even threats of physical violence. While we all wish that our fellow Americans in these positions will always show such courage and commitment to free and fair elections, it is my sincere hope we never again see anyone subjected to the kind of threats and abuse we saw in this election. It's simply unconscionable.
Unconscionable. Ah,
We owe these public servants a debt of gratitude. They didn't seek the spotlight, and our democracy survived because of them, which is proof, once more, that it's everyday Americans infused with honor, character, and decency.
honor, character, and decency. Those are things that we said we don't really need. You know what I'm saying? As long as our 401ks look good. Donald Trump don't have to have honor and character and decency. That stuff doesn't matter. And here we are, years later, this man has threatened our democracy under baseless claims. 300,000 people have died from the coronavirus. And he's just still out here all about himself, lacking honor, lacking character, lacking decency. It matters, people. The same people who will vote for him will, try to condemn some kids who steal some candy on Halloween. I've seen it on my Nextdoor app. I mean, it's just That's what matters. Character matters. This man is 70 plus years old with no character.
That is the heart of this nation. And our democracy survived because of them, which is proof, once more, that it's everyday Americans infused with honor, character, and decency that is the heart of this nation. You know, in this election, their integrity was matched by their strength, independence, and the integrity of our judicial system. In America, when questions are raised about the legitimacy of any election, those questions are resolved through the legal processes. And that's precisely what happened here. The Trump campaign brought dozens and dozens and dozens of legal challenges to test the result. They were heard again and again. And each of the times they were heard, they were found to be without merit. Time and again, President Trump's lawyers presented arguments to state officials, state legislatures, state and federal courts, and ultimately to the United States Supreme Court twice. They were heard by more than 80 judges across this country, and in every case, no cause or evidence was found to reverse or question or dispute the results.
I'm going to play that again. 80 cases. And in no case did they find where they should reverse or dispute based on what was presented.
Arguments to state officials, state legislatures, state and federal courts, and ultimately to the United States Supreme Court twice. They were heard by more than 80 judges across this country, and in every case, no cause or evidence was found to reverse or question or dispute the results.
That's just for those people who still don't believe. It doesn't go that deep. The conspiracy does not go that deep. He lost. Period. I don't understand how you can't imagine that you really could sit by and just not really do anything and watch 300,000 Americans die and then be shocked that people are appalled by you and don't want to reelect you. It's because it's shocking that he got 73 million votes. That's what's shocking. You know, maybe the machines are messed up because I mean, just that many people would come out. But either way, 300,000 people dead on your watch. That's like Herbert Hoover being like, "How in the hell did I lose?" Bro, it's the Great Depression. You oversaw it. This is COVID. We'll always remember it. And you oversaw it.
A few states went for recounts. All the counts were confirmed. The results in Georgia were counted 3 times. Didn't change the outcome. The recount conducted in Wisconsin actually saw our margin grow. The margin we had in Michigan was 14 times the margin President Trump won that state by 4 years ago. Our margin in Pennsylvania was nearly twice the size of the Trump margin 4 years ago. And yet, none of this has stopped baseless claims about the legitimacy of the results. Even more stunning, 17 Republican attorneys general and 126 Republican members of the Congress actually signed on to a lawsuit filed by the state of Texas. That lawsuit asked the United States Supreme Court to reject the certified vote counts in Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin.
I felt like right here, he sounded fired up enough to me that he felt like them trying to do this was illegal and egregious, and just that there's a possibility of, I don't know. I shouldn't even say illegal and egregious. He seemed pretty fired up about that. And the fact that he mentioned it specifically and it wasn't just, we're just talking about it. I mean, he was like actually signed on. These people actually signed on to do this. Um, I I felt a way about that. I don't know how else to describe it to you guys.
This legal Trump won that state
I
by
want to
4 years
hear.
ago.
I want to hear that part
Our
again.
margin in Pennsylvania was nearly twice the size of the Trump margin 4 years ago. And yet, none of this has stopped baseless claims about the legitimacy of the results. Even more stunning, 17 Republican attorneys general and 126 Republican members of the Congress actually signed on to a lawsuit filed by the state of Texas. That lawsuit asked the United States Supreme Court to reject the certified vote counts in Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. This legal maneuver was an effort by elected officials and one group of states to try to get the Supreme Court to wipe out the votes of more than 20 million Americans in other states, and to hand the presidency to a candidate who lost the Electoral College, lost the popular vote, and lost each and every one of the states whose votes they were trying to reverse.
25% of the votes that were cast. Well, maybe it's more like 15, but still, that's a lot.
It's a position so extreme, we've never seen it before. A position that refused to respect the will of the people, refused to respect the rule of law, and refused to honor our Constitution. Thankfully, a unanimous Supreme Court immediately and completely rejected this effort. The court sent a clear signal to President Trump that there would be no part of an unprecedented assault on our democracy.
And I've seen it called different things, trying to be soft, but that's what it is, period. Assault on democracy. That's it.
Every single avenue was made available to President Trump to contest the results. He took full advantage of each and every one of those avenues.
And the thing is, that's the kind of person he is, that he will take full, complete advantage of absolutely everything. And if you think that he hasn't been in the White House taking absolute and full and complete advantage of being the president of the United States for himself, you are out of your mind. Full and complete advantage he did to be able to gin it up, be able to gin up people's emotions, be able to get out as much money as he could from supporters, knowing that these are losing causes. That's who he is. He takes every bit that he can. Every bit.
Seen it before. A position that refused to respect the will of the people, refused to respect the rule of law, and refused to honor our Constitution. Thankfully, a unanimous Supreme Court immediately and completely rejected this effort. The court sent a clear signal to President Trump that there would be no part of an unprecedented assault on our democracy. Every single avenue was made available to President Trump to contest the results. He took full advantage of each and every one of those avenues. President Trump was denied no course of action he wanted to take. He took his case to Republican governors and Republican Secretary of State, as he criticized many of them, to Republican state legislatures, to Republican-appointed judges at every level. And in a case decided after the Supreme Court's latest rejection, a judge appointed by President Trump wrote, quote, "This court has allowed the plaintiff the chance to make his case, and he has lost on the merits." End of quote. Lost on the merits. Even President Trump's own cybersecurity chief.
Let me ask you something. I'm sorry. Have you ever been in a situation where somebody um, is how am I trying to say? I'm sorry, I may have to take this out. But have you ever been in a situation where instead of reacting to somebody who's really being ridiculous, you are able to like just maintain yourself, and them being themselves just really tells the whole story. So, like, you don't even have to say anything or go back and forth with them because they end up doing enough on their own to where they just ruin their own credibility. Like, that's kind of what this is. I was very frustrated with how everything was playing out and people were giving Trump an opportunity to be absurd and ridiculous. But at the same time, I mean, I guess there are some people who still believe in him and still want to follow him, but a lot of people are just like, really? Like even Chris Christie, I wish I had the clip. You know, a couple of weeks ago he was like, "Hey, they're not even taking this stuff into court. Like that's just the reality. This stuff is not really legit because if it was, they would be arguing this in front of a judge and they're not doing that." And then yesterday he was really just like, you know, cut the mess. Like it's clear that you've lost. And for him to just kind of keep dragging this on is really egregious. So that's my word. I guess that's my new word since the election because it's just been so bad. But even Chris Christie, you know, people are just like, this is ridiculous. So let's just go back to it. You know, it's just it gets indefensible, and you don't have to go back and forth with like Trump supporters and stuff. I don't. I'm like, if you still believe this, what am I even going to go back and forth with you about? Like, for what? I can never get that 5 minutes of my life back. And if you're still believing it, there's just no convincing you of rational things. So I'm like, they've had 80 chances and they've lost consistently. I guess if you still want to believe, I suppose so. Have at it. I got better things to do with my life.
Overseeing our elections, said it was the most secure election judges at every level. And in a case decided after the Supreme Court's latest rejection, a judge appointed by President Trump wrote, quote, "This court has allowed the plaintiff the chance to make his case, and he has lost on the merits." End of quote. Lost on the merits. Even President Trump's own cybersecurity chief, overseeing our elections, said it was the most secure election in American history, and summarily was let go. Let me say it again. His own cybersecurity chief, overseeing this election, said it was the most secure in American history. You know, respecting the will of the people is at the heart of our democracy, even when we find those results hard to accept. But that's the obligation of those who've taken on a sworn duty to uphold the Constitution. 4 years ago, when I was a sitting vice president of the United States, it was my responsibility to announce the tally of the Electoral College votes in the joint session of Congress that voted to elect Donald Trump. I did my job. And I'm pleased, but not surprised, by the number of my former Republican colleagues in the Senate who have acknowledged already the results of the Electoral College. I thank them, and I'm convinced we can work together for the good of the nation on many subjects. That's the duty owed to the people, to our Constitution, to our history. You know, in this battle for the soul of America, democracy prevailed. We, the people, voted. Faith in our institutions held. The integrity of our elections remains intact. And now it's time to turn the page, as we've done throughout our history, to unite, to heal. As I said in this campaign, I will be president for all Americans. I'll work just as hard for those of you who didn't vote for me as I will for those who did. There's urgent work in front of us. Getting this pandemic under control and getting the nation vaccinated against this virus. Delivering immediate economic help so badly needed by so many Americans who are hurting today.
I did read something today that said Joe Biden said that they're not going to make the vaccine mandatory. I think probably they'll have business do it for them. So we'll see.
And then building our economy back better than it ever was. In doing so, we need to work together to give each other a chance to lower the temperature. And most of all, we need to stand in solidarity as fellow Americans. to see each other, our pains, our struggles, our hopes, and our dreams. We're a great nation. We're good people. We may come from different places, hold different beliefs, but we share in common a love for this country, a belief in its limitless possibilities. For we, the United States of America, has always set the example for the world for a peaceful transition of power. We'll do so again.
Try to get that out.
I know the task before us won't be easy. It's tempered by the pain so many of us are feeling. Today, our nation passed a grim milestone, 300,000 deaths due to this COVID virus. My heart goes out to each of you in this dark winter of the pandemic, about to spend the holidays and the new year with a black hole in your hearts, without the ones you loved at your side. My heart goes out to all of you who have fallen in hard times through no fault of your own, unable to sleep at night, staring at the ceiling, and weighed down by the worry of what tomorrow will bring for you, and equally important for your family. But we've faced difficult times before in our history. I know we'll get through this one, but together. That's how we get through it, together. So as we start the hard work to be done, may this moment give us the strength to rebuild this house of ours upon a rock that can never be washed away. As in the prayer of St. Francis, for where there is discord, union, where there is doubt, faith, where there is darkness, light. This is who we are as a nation. This is the America we love. And that is the America we're going to be. So thank you all. May God bless you. And may God protect our troops and all those who stand watch over our democracy. Thank you.
So, yeah. So that's the end. And, I really enjoyed that speech. I thought that it was inspiring. I thought that he was very clear about how he felt about what Donald Trump has been doing for the last month or so, month and a half. Um, that he had a problem with the people who signed on to that. I mean, a lot of people did a lot of ridiculous things, but those elected officials who did that, I don't know. Like I said before, I feel a way about that, and I appreciated him calling that out clearly. Um, I thought it was unifying in terms of, the things that we have in common. Also giving kudos to those elected officials who would not be swayed, who could not be bought or believe in ridiculous lies or, you know, I guess have constituents who believe the craziness and so they have to try to go along with Donald Trump because they can't be honest with them. And I don't know if the problem there is them or the constituents. I'm not sure. But overall, I thought it was a really great speech. I thought it reassured me that I think in a really crazy season, why he's president. And I'm looking forward to the next 4 years. I'm looking forward to the 20th of January and how we move forward. So that's it. I'm the Black White Liberal. I'll check y'all later. Have a good night. Bye. Oh, you know what? Let me come back. Let me also say, just of course, I would ask that you all would follow me, like, and subscribe. Talk to me about the things that you want to talk about. If you get a chance, watch the video. This is the place where you can see the whole speech. Hopefully you had a chance to watch the video. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about the speech or what you thought about my commentary during the speech. Just trying to get better. So, yeah, I look forward to hearing from you all. And I got some more drops coming this week, and I'll be live on Saturday night. So I'll see you then. Check you later. It's the Black White Liberal.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me.